I'm Don Daly. I'm the Sunday Woodcarver. Today I want to talk about some of the knives that I use. So this is called a Sloyd knife. This has a pretty large, about a 2-inch blade, and this is the business end of it right here. That's the cutting edge. Curves up, and it has a nice sturdy handle. And this is good for roughing out, and this is a lot of spoon carvers use this. Next I have these two knives that are made by Mike Shipley. See his name right on there. They're kind of rough looking. He's just wood burned his name on there by hand, and the handles look a little rustic, but they're actually very comfortable. The blades, when they come, are a little rough looking, but I've polished them many times, so they're starting to sharpen up a little bit. This one is about 1.25 inches. This one is about 1.75 inches, and I use both of these, but I would say this longer blade I tend to use for like 85% of the carving that I do, and this would be a little bit more of a detailed knife. When I get to finishing, I'll use one of these two knives, and these are made by Lions. These were given to me as gifts, and I was told that they were finishing knives, which they pretty much are. They're a thinner blade. This one has an up sweep type blade. This is the cutting edge, and this one is what they call a sheep's foot, where it comes down. This is just a straight cutting edge here. But these come very polished, and they're great for doing that finish work after you've roughed out your carving, really getting a nice clean surface. This is a knife that I picked up, not even sure where I got it, but it has a little tiny blade on there, 3/4 inch, and that's what you would call a detail knife. So that's going to get into small areas and maybe around eyes if you're doing that type of carving. Beyond that, I have some sort of specialty knives. So this is made by Denny. He usually has these oak handles, and this is like a V-tool with a rounded bottom shape on it, and that is very good for getting rid of a lot of material. I'm working on smaller scale gnomes and little figures and Santa ornaments and things like that, so these tools all work for that. FlexCut is a great company to sort of get into for not a lot of money, and these are 3 specialty tools. This one has cutting edge here with a little point, so that's really good for getting into tight corners. This one has more of like a medieval axe kind of shape to it, but this is really good for slicing cuts. Again, finishing work, really kind of getting into places that maybe you can't get with just a knife. And this one has a curve for scooping like a spoon or some sort of a concave cut. And these are all in the under $30 range for these. Then my other favorite is the dockyard tools. These actually come in a set of 6 with several U-shaped down to a really small one. This is the largest one, so that's about 1/4 inch. It has 2 V-tools in it, a large and a small. This is the small one, and these are really tiny. So that's about 1/8 inch, and that's a little bit left. And they are indispensable for carving details, eyelids, carving hair, and all that kind of thing. Those are the tools that I tend to use the most. So all of these knives require that they're razor sharp. The blades are quite thin, and the edges are very delicate. So what I recommend is you have some sort of a sheath or a protecting covering. This plastic one molded came with this knife. These leather ones came with these knives, and I've made a couple myself out of leather, so they're very handy. Another thing you can do is sort of hold on to these corks. The synthetic ones work really well, and you can just shove a tool right in there. I tend to use these plastic containers, and I just throw the tools in there and take them with me, so I want to make sure that they're all protected. This is another good way to protect your tool. If you can get these plastic tubes, just throw it in there, and it's all about just keeping that blade from banging against the other tools, and also your hand. If you reach in there, you don't want to get cut. So thanks for watching. I hope this was useful. In the description, I'll put down some links for sources where you can purchase tools like this. If you like the video, click the like button and subscribe. Thanks again. Happy carving.